Geez, what day is it? I think it's Sunday, October 2nd. Driving up to the mainland, meeting tomorrow about evangelism for my church. I should turn the radio off first. I was gonna make a video for Honest Faith about this, but then I was gonna make a vlog about this, and then I think I'm gonna move Honest Faith videos over to my personal channel. That way it's my thing, it's attached to my email address, and I can run the program from there, as opposed to doing it through a different email address that's attached to a different account, and then have to worry about what happens if I ever leave or switch churches or what have you. So this will be my channel covering Honest Faith and news and topics, and I wanted to talk about politics. It's never a fun topic to talk about. Everybody gets so passionate. Everybody gets so into their side of the story. And there's a lot of tension this year going into the elections that are coming up in just about a month. And being very passionate about politics is very good. Having such strong conviction is very good. I have had a lot of people ask me my thoughts and my views on the candidates, and I've kind of just held it back, just sitting and watching what is going on with everybody. And I asked this on my Facebook wall in a non-aggressive way. I said, I do not understand what the big deal is about emails being deleted. Could you please help me understand why this is such a triggering point for Republicans in conversation? And people brought up that having a private server is security breach. You know, they've posted this picture many times. You know, Nixon and I had an 18-minute audio gap, and I was fired from being president. I deleted 30,000 emails, and I'm running for president. You know, like they're equating those two things together. And other people I've just mentioned that it's just the pure dishonesty that goes into that. And I understand it. I know servers, I know network security, and I understand that private servers can be a problem. However, no one has shown to me that deleting the emails is anything outside of what either you should expect a politician to do, or that it was a big issue, especially when you realize that the Republican National Convention deleted 22 million emails, and that was a private email server that was also used by people that were already in elected political positions and held political office. They were conducting official business on that as well, and that never gets brought up ever. So if you're going to bring up one, I feel you should bring up the other one, but no one's going to do that. So I'm going to stand by my statement where I don't see that being a big deal, because of the way everybody is linking the 18 minutes to the 30,000 emails. I had to go back and take a look at why Nixon was impeached and why Nixon resigned. It looks like what it was is he was ordered by the courts to release the audio tapes that he was keeping track of. And in the audio tapes, it is him and the conspirators immediately talking about how to cover up their involvement in the Watergate scandal. After that, Nixon openly admitted that he lied to the country about his involvement and about his offices and administration's direct relations to everything in Watergate. Nowhere does it say that these 18 minutes are the reason that he was let go. History has repeatedly shown over and over to be the problem, so there's no real correlation right there. And the reason I guess I do not have a problem with Hillary is she is a politician. She is a career politician. There is nothing that she has done or said that surprises me, because she's a politician. And in the debate, they even brought up the fact that she has 30 years of experience doing this. It was at the end of the debate. I don't remember the comment offhand, but it was towards the end, and Trump mentioned something. Her only reply was, do this for 30 years, go to 146 countries, broker treaties, broker conversations and dialogues and contracts with other countries, and then let me know what your temperament will be. So I gotta be honest, I don't see a problem with Hillary, or why people are calling her crooked, lying, devious Hillary, because she's a politician. Politicians will say one thing, and a few years later, they'll say another thing, and it's just, I mean, I don't know why you're all surprised at the way things happen. It's really strange to me. Trump, the only reason he bothers me is because he is partly a wild card, because you just don't know what to get with him, because he's not a politician. And a lot of Democrats and a lot of my friends that are Democrats are posting these videos and these images and these pictures of stuff Trump has said throughout the years. This most recent one is that Trump was in a porn, and that's what the title reads, Trump is in a porn flick. And just right off the bat, that doesn't make any sense, not even for him and what his career was being a real estate mogul, tycoon, whatever you want to call him. And so you read the article and it says that he was in the video. What he did was break a champagne bottle on the limousine that had the Playmates inside of it, and that was it. That's all he was doing. Now keep in mind, this is also nearly 36, 37 years ago. When you're digging up information on somebody that you don't like and you're going to pull out information that is 30 plus years ago, that does not do anything to discredit them. I'm not the same person I was 36 years ago. I wasn't even alive 36 years ago. And to all my older friends, think about where you were in your life 30 plus years ago and think of where you are now. Things change over time. Things changed 20 years ago. Things changed 30 years from 20 years ago. Things changed from 30 years ago. And trying to pull up information that is that old, trying to dig up dirt on somebody makes you look so desperate and so clinging at straws, like you can't find anything else that is relevant within the recent history, at least from maybe 2000 and onward. But they can't. They're grabbing at straws to somebody who has openly said very harsh comments about people of different ethnic backgrounds and has lumped entire nations together with the perceived mindset of the stereotype of how we view these people. The other reason I do not like Donald Trump is the amount of double standard and hypocrisy that he just completely exudes at all times. He openly has mocked Miss Universe or one of the recent pageant winners for being in some type of porn movie or something, when at the same time his wife has posed nude and he doesn't have a problem with it. All he says is she's very beautiful, so why not? His response was, while Hillary was talking about how he hasn't paid federal taxes for maybe 20 plus years, or tax returns in 20 plus years, and he says, no, that makes me smart, as she's trying to, oh, don't even get me started on how many times he interrupted her. Just that's not very tactful in general. That's not very tactful. And so as she's going on and explaining about how he hasn't done any type of tax returns, or not tax returns, federal income, tax payments, tax what have you, his reply is, that makes me smart. And then within an hour, he's being asked by an interviewer who says, so you just said during the debate that not paying federal income tax makes you smart. No, I never said that. It's like, no, bro, you did. No, I never said that. And there's all these other records of things that he has said, and he has just openly denied and openly shot down. One of my favorite things was he was attacking Hillary for voting to go to war, which pretty much everybody was for at the point, because we were all caught up in the emotions of what had happened to our country back then. And at the same time, his running mate voted to go to war as well. And when he addresses that, he just dismisses it as well, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. And it's just the double standard and hypocrite that he is exuding and becoming. And that's completely frustrating. Nobody seems to care about that when you look at your candidate. Another meme I see going around is somebody was interviewed recently, and they said nothing Trump has ever said has gotten 4 people killed in Benghazi, which is a pretty low blow, because I'm pretty sure there are plenty of things that Bush said that got lots of troops killed, by going to war. There's been things that Obama has said that has gotten troops killed because we're still going to war and we're still in war. And there's been plenty of things that have been said, and there are plenty of things that happen. And in wartime, bad stuff happens. People die in war, and there's always a miscommunication. There's always not enough intelligence. There's always a clarity that comes in hindsight for politics. And that's a very unfair stance to hold against somebody continuously over and over and over again. So that should be a non-issue. Now, having said why I'm not a big fan of Trump and sort of defending Hillary, I'll say why Hillary bothers me. Hillary's a career politician. Career politicians do what career politicians do. They bend, they waver, they appease their party and their constituencies. I'm only 30. I'm getting sick of politicians that just say one thing and want one thing and will do one thing, and then the exact opposite happens. But in the end, that's not enough to not make me vote for her. So those are my personal thoughts and understandings of things that are in politics. You can go ahead and leave a comment down below, or try to argue me and fight me on this. Just realize I'm trying to figure this out as I'm going along. as this is a very interesting and important year for elections. And I think that needs to be realized in itself, that despite the fact that a lot of people hate both politicians or hate one or hate the other, you have to respect the fact that in 2016, we have a woman who won one of the two major parties' nomination to run for president, and the other party has put as their nomination somebody who's not a career politician. So, and the first time ever, it's a non-political person against a woman for president, and that's really cool. That is amazing to see. I just remember in history class when I was in grade school even, and it was anybody can be anything, anybody can be president, anybody can reach this, and it's just white guy, you know, lawyer, political career over and over and over again. There is no real change to any of that, and it's really interesting to see such a drastic difference in my lifetime for who's running for president, which is really cool. So if anything, take a step back and just see what we have accomplished so far. And you can say that it's politics, playing games with people, but this game would have been played years and years ago. So that at least we're at this point where this is now where we're at. So the other thing I wanted to talk about was the Colin Kaepernick protest of not standing during the national anthem or putting his hand over his heart or whatever myriad of things people are going to show pictures of and do things of. So our country is based on a lot of freedom of expression, freedom of speech, and all this is protected, a lot of it within the First Amendment, especially when you look at freedom to assemble peacefully and freedom of protesting all being protected with freedom of speech attached to that. Him not standing during the national anthem is not a big deal. It is not a big deal at all, as much as everyone is blowing it out to be. For as much as the national anthem is played on TV during sporting events, award ceremonies, different things, I can guarantee you that 95% of people at home aren't even reacting to that being played in the background. They're not even flinching at it in the background. They're not even registering it in the background. To not stand and protest is a lot better than some of the other alternative methods to protesting something with violent demonstration, with violent act, and instead you have a person who is not standing during national anthem. And there's even times where people have taken a knee. I think that taking a knee, I guess this is just part of my background with religiosity and tradition from when I was Catholic, but taking a knee, and I think taking a knee seems to be more respectful because I don't know, like I remember taking knees and being on our knees and standing and doing all this other stuff during church so much, and then genuflecting when you get inside of a pew, and like that was a deep sign of respect or whatever. So when people are kneeling, I feel like that's kind of more of a respect because, I don't know, maybe that's just my own personal take on it. However, I just don't understand why there's so much against this guy that flat out says, you know, I'm not standing because I don't think our country's in a great place right now, and it's not in a great place right now. And to say that our country is great flies directly in the face of what candidate Trump is even saying about make America great again, because if we're trying to make America great again, that means America's not great. And with this whole Colin Kaepernick thing, that bleeds over into the Black Lives Matter movement, which is a very viable movement, and the idea and the message behind Black Lives Matter is incredibly important, because there's a minority group that is feeling oppressed, and there's a minority group that feels like they're not being represented enough like they should be compared to their counterparts in this country. And to negate that, to say that isn't real, to say that isn't a true thing and true feeling, is a very negating attitude. And I think if you're going to completely negate somebody's ideas and feelings, especially of a minority group, then you just don't understand the point of view of that minority, and you're not even trying to. I think the greatest point of that came across when there were there's a large collection of police that were killed in line of duty, and everybody started posting these Blue Lives Matter pictures. And if you don't understand the connection between Black Lives Matter and Blue Lives Matter, as they're both saying the same thing, but they're not tearing each other down, then you've completely missed the point of what it is to say my life does matter as well. And you can even go biblically, and I've told people this before, when the Bible says take care of the orphans, take care of the widows, is Jesus, is God saying that anybody who's not an orphan, who's not a widow, doesn't matter? You can think about it in that aspect, because obviously the answer is no, because yes, while all lives matter, these people that are underappreciated, these people that are usually taken advantage of and treated so differently in society, we need to make sure we are taking care of them as well as much so as everyone else is being looked out and taken care of. And I've heard a lot of interesting stories from my black friends about what it is like to be black in America. And one of my friends, he told me, Colin, I'm a black man that lives in Louisville, Kentucky, and I'm well aware of the fact that anytime I get pulled over, I could very well be shot, and I could very well die that day. That's just the reality I live with. And Colin, I work for the city, and these cops and these people and everybody sees me every single day. And I didn't know how much it affected my friends, even back home in Michigan, until one of them told me that he would just be walking outside and some of the police would try to harass him. Now, I'm not saying all cops are bad. My uncle was a cop for many, many years. However, there is a problem that needs to be addressed, period, between cops, between minorities, between different ethnic backgrounds. And there is a change that needs to happen because the status quo just isn't working. So those are just a few of my thoughts on some big political things that have been happening recently. I have meetings tomorrow about evangelism, so hence the driving today. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your comments. Please feel free to leave them down below. Like and subscribe. Share with your friends. I will see you guys next time.